Hey, hi, hey on, it's your mate Valstride, and today we're going to be clearing the level 60 oil rig. Let's check it out. Okay, so the rig itself is located to the west of the Faybreak Island, and the reason you would even want to be clearing this in the first place is to loot its giant chest, which is going to drop some of the best legendary schematics in the game. And in addition to that, you can also loot the smaller chests to get schematics for your Hexolite Armour. So here's a map of where all the chests can spawn, including the large chest, which is outlined in yellow and can spawn in any one of these 5 locations, while the smaller chests always appear as indicated. Alright, but next we need to talk about the PAL party composition, and for this I like to use Jetragon, Felbat, Galeclaw, and then 2 Gobfins. Now you can swap out the Jetragon or the Galeclaw to just get another Gobfin in party, and that's going to allow you to deal more damage and clear everything a little bit faster, but I prefer the convenience of having both of these. The Jetragon is just going to be for getting out there in the first place and then getting back. Now you do want a Jetragon here instead of a Xenolord, because Jetragon will float above the water without using any stamina, whereas Xenolord can't do that. And they have changed the mechanics recently such that the laser turrets won't focus you or won't shoot you down as you approach the oil rig, as long as you stay flying under the radar and you're all the way along the surface of the water. So you don't need a water pal, or you don't need to Galeclaw all the way across like you used to. So Jetragon's going to work great for that. Get out there really quickly. And for the passives, I just like to go Legend, Eternal Engine, Swift, and Runner. These are just going to be the best movement speed passives. You could swap out Eternal Engine for Nimble and you'll go faster, but I think the extra stamina is just more important. You just kind of get further, and that 15% from Nimble isn't really worth it. Next up though, we've got Felbat, and this one is a must-have. We want this for the partner skill Lifesteal, which is going to convert all of the player's damage into health regeneration and allow us to go toe-to-toe with the chopper. So we're not going to have to hide and take cover or anything like that. We're just going to be able to face tank all of the damage while we shoot it down, and we're going to get all of that health back thanks to this skill. Now, it's really good for the trash mobs as well, because if you do find yourself getting overwhelmed, you can just pop out your Felbat, do a little bit of AoE damage, and then you're all the way back up to full health almost instantly. Now, as for the passive skills, I've been a little bit lazy here and just gone with Vampiric, Vanguard, Stronghold Strategist, and Serenity. This probably isn't the optimal set. If I really was more fussy about it, I'd probably swap out Serenity for Diamond Body, and maybe even Stronghold Strategist for Legend. But the idea is I want these two to buff the player, and then I just want Vampiric so that my Felbat is less likely to die. I want it to be able to regenerate a little bit of health, because you don't need your Felbat to do a whole bunch of damage. You just need it to not be dead so that you can keep getting that good old lifesteal. Moving on though, we've got the Galeclaw next, and this one is just going to be for movement. So this is going to allow us to glide around the oil rig nice and easy and just get everywhere faster. It pairs really well with the grapple hook, which is going to be included when we look at the inventory. I just go with this set here to keep it alive. You're not really bringing it out of the PAL sphere anyway, so you definitely want Vanguard and Stronghold Strategist. And then we've got 2 Gobfins, and the reason you want these is for their partner skill Angry Shark, which is just going to allow you to do even more damage. So if you do drop a Galeclaw, just add another Gobfin. It's going to make life pretty easy, but I think I prefer this setup. It's just a little bit more convenient. Now, as for the inventory, I like to go with these 4 weapons here. So the charge rifle is just going to be the best weapon straight up for taking down the chopper gunner. It's really good with that. The chopper doesn't fly around too much, so you're not going to miss it. And this just does a ton of damage. This hits like a truck. I like to use the grenade launcher as my weapon of choice for clearing out all of the trash mobs and doing AoE damage, but you could swap this one out for the multi-guided missile launcher or the rocket launcher. These are nice because they're going to have a little bit more of a stun effect. They're going to make the enemies all kind of bounce up and fall all over the place, which reduces your incoming damage. But I've been liking the grenade launcher. The movement on it just feels a little bit better. It just feels a little bit easier. It's got a faster reload time and stuff like that. But you definitely want to carry the Terra Prisma. This weapon is just absolutely broken. The way that this allows you to deal damage without having a line of sight on the enemy is crazy, because you can just duck behind a corner, pull your Felbat out, and then all of the damage from your Terra Prisma is just going to heal you back up while you're out of that line of sight. Now, I definitely recommend at least 1 grapple gun. This is just going to allow you to go up and down and move around a lot quicker. And then for the accessories, I go with 2 attack pendants just to deal more damage, and then the triple jump boots and the defense pendant for some protection. Now, I definitely recommend the triple jump boots. There is a lot of verticality on the oil rig, so you're gonna need these. These are gonna make your life a lot easier. Don't leave home without them. As for the headgear, I just go with the Hexolite helmet. I wish I had a legendary one, but I don't. I still need to do some more level 60 oil rig farming. And then the cold resistant Hexolite armor is your body piece. Now, you do want the cold resistant here because it is going to be cold in Fabric, so you're going to freeze to death without this. You could use the multi-climate suit instead of one of these, but I think it's just better to have the cold resistant armor. I haven't got the legendary set of this either, so that's the one I'm dealing with. To be honest, the armor level doesn't really make too much difference. And then for the food, we're just going to be feasting on the Mammoris curry to get the attack boost. So that's the gear and the PAL setup. Let's take a look at what an actual run looks like. So the way I like to do it is approach the oil rig on the back of Jetragon while flying under the radar, but then when you get there, I just like to fly straight up and jump off before the lasers hit so that I can scout around and see where the large chest has spawned. And as you can see in this example, it's spawned on the middle platform, so I'm just going to glide straight over there and then start clearing out the mobs. Now for this step, you probably do want to seek some cover initially while you get your bearings, and ideally you would be preloading your Terra Prisma blades before you get to the oil rig, but you can see in this example, I didn't do that, so I need to duck into cover quickly and use this shed to start firing off some of the blades, and then as you can see, I pull out the Fellbat to start healing back up as well. And the other nice thing about the Terra Prisma is it does start to stun lock some of the enemies, which is just going to improve your survivability even more. But once you've cleared out the mobs, you want to summon the helicopter by initiating the hack on the large chest. And this step is fairly straightforward. As long as you've got Fellbat out and you're using the setup we looked at earlier, then you should be able to out-heal all of the incoming damage. And as another tip, I do recommend that you put the Terra Prisma away while you're fighting the helicopter, because as you can see, it does get in the way of your line of sight and makes it harder to aim. But overall, the fight does take about a minute, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less. And if the chopper does start attacking Fellbat instead of you at any point, then you can just withdraw it to get it out of the line of fire and then resummon it again when you need the heals back. And the chopper doesn't really burst you down that fast, so you should always have plenty of time to react. And if you haven't got a charge rifle, then you can get away with the plasma cannon or the multi-guided missile launcher as well, but they are going to do less damage, so it is going to be slower and it is going to put more pressure on your heals. You're not necessarily going to be able to out-heal the damage as easily as you would with the charge rifle. And after that, I just glide around to each of the small chests to collect them really quickly, and I mostly ignore the rest of the mobs here, while taking breaks every now and again to summon the Fellbat and just get my HP up while allowing the Terra Prisma to do most of the hard work. But if you do want to clear out the mobs, then I recommend you pull aggro and use chokeholds like the staircases or some of the doorway entrances just to build them all up and get them all grouped together so that you can AoE them down really fast. That's going to do it for this one. Hopefully that helps you get some clears. Now, the loot is randomized, so you are going to have to run this a few times, unfortunately, to try and get that perfect loot. But thankfully, we've got the drafting table now, which means that as long as you get some schematics, you're always going to be able to upgrade them towards that legendary. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.